and welcome to You Better Fact Check because I had wine first. I've had to restart this recording 3 times because my kids will not shut the fuck up. It is, on occasion, very frustrating to be a parent of 3 kids who are of an age that they can listen. 6, 8, and 10. If I say, be quiet for 30 minutes, that's all I need. Why can't you do that? I am informing you, the small listening audience, that as soon as I am done with this podcast, I will go sit in the midst of them while they watch their show and make a phone call and talk non-stop. Because I am a petty adult, if nothing else. But back to the episode at hand. This is, what does America look like to you? Well, I am a black woman in the South. So for the most part, America fits in pretty great with the stereotypes that are portrayed about the South all over the world. But at this exact moment, America looks like a place that is in the middle of figuring out. Let me be clear. Black people are in the middle of figuring out what America should look like for them. Right now, for me, I can't speak for anyone else, it looks like rage. It looks like anger and sadness and paycheck to paycheck and pandemic and no school funding, over policing. It looks like sleepless nights and quick meals. It looks like this year is no vacation because I'm not playing with the coronavirus. It looks like a higher mortality rate for everything for a person of color. Except dying of happiness. For me, as a whole thing, America just looks broken. It has been for so many years. A very broken in place, pieced together by people's imaginations. Like, this is what I want to think is happening. This is what I want to feel about black communities, that they're all so violent and dangerous that I shouldn't want to be there and they shouldn't want to get out to do better. That's what America looks like. Continuous chains that loop around every single black body. Not pulling us together, but pulling us down. But we are coming together now, aren't we? If we could just manage not to waver from what our end game is. And you know what? There's never an end game. There's always a process. You're always wanting to get better and become something greater and something greater than that. But you have to do that and not destroy people in the process. That is what happens when you are colonized. Everything that is you gets destroyed in the process. So, yeah. For me, this can end in a wonderful way that I may never see, that I only pray that my children see. And probably our parents before us and their parents before them and their parents before them prayed that I want the world to be a little better than it was for me. Well, that's not what I want. I want the world to be a lot better for my kids than it currently is for me. And for me, I mean all Black people. Because for me, I'm not struggling. I haven't had brothers or sisters be killed at the hands of law enforcement. I am socially thriving. I am emotionally not thriving at the moment because the world is on fire. But there are people that are worse off. There are so many questions of when the protesting will stop and when all of this will be over. All of this could simply be over if everything changed from the way it is right this exact second. That's how it can be over. If people were so gung-ho about helping Black people, talk to your Congress people, because they're the ones that continue to make money from prison systems, donations, votes from police. Like, they're the ones who are in charge, and it shouldn't be that way. I view power to the people as a mental mantra all the time right now. Give the power back to the people. Power to the people. This is all of our country collectively. So we should all reap the same benefits. And we should all get to be happy. I don't want to live the American dream. I want to live the dream that is mine. And that's for my kids to grow up and be Black men, a little Black girl, become a little Black woman. My fear is that if things don't get better right now, that won't happen for a lot of kids. And those could be mine. As Black people, we talk to our children about how to react to the police, about how to react to racism. And it is hard to have those conversations because their minds are so innocent, and so they process what we're saying about police injustices and racism, but they don't fully understand how it can be like that or why it is like that. They don't understand. And it's okay for them not to understand, but the parts that they do get are the parts that are hard. That one false step, false move, pulling your hand out of your pocket, or just doing nothing could end your life. They get the gravity of you could be here one day and not be here the next. I yelled at Austin a second ago, so now my throat hurts, which means I should probably not scream through the house. Okay, so I realized I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb if I was going to use it to record, because somebody calls me and it knocks me off of my podcast. Yes. So what I was saying in that last little part, I shouldn't yell through the house at my kids. It's a rather large apartment, so sound doesn't carry well. So I find myself, even if I just want them to hear me regular, I yell. But then when I'm mad, I definitely yell. But anyway, just these are the things that I'm talking about. For any other oppressed people, there is lots more, because we have support. There's lots more support by companies. And then there are times when we're in the middle of a movement that it seems people are too afraid of losing business to support what's right. And they really should be afraid of losing the black dollar. They really, really should. Because sad to say, we are sometimes the people who just like the things we like, and you'll buy stuff that'll put you in debt. You just buy what you want because it's your money that you earned, that you work too fucking hard for. So you buy the things that you like, period. Anyway, two situations have happened to me this week. I saw where Chick-fil-A, of all places, well, I don't know why I would say of all places. That's stupid. But Chick-fil-A is not in support of the Black Lives Movement, or doesn't want, even if, let me get my thoughts together. I'll start by saying Starbucks has banned employees from wearing anything that supports the Black Lives Matter movement, which is funny to me because they often support the LGBTQ, and I know there's another letter, community so easily, and don't want to support this movement that, by the way, is not going to stop unless there are changes made. Period. We cannot stop protesting. We cannot stop fighting. What we need to stop doing is spending our money in these places that don't support us. That is the way you hurt the system in America. Stop letting them see your dollars, and you can win. Man. But at any rate, so to my previous point that I was stammering over, and I don't know why, probably because I love Chick-fil-A, and I'm mad that they don't allow their employees to wear anything in support of Black Lives Matter. But I shouldn't have been surprised about that from Chick-fil-A.
Right.
But Starbucks, yes, I was surprised.
Well, they backtracked, and I saw something interesting, and this was by a Black woman, and, this stuff is hard because I know people have their individual feelings, but I feel like there's an individual feeling and a movement feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And, this woman was saying how this is not a big deal, the Starbucks thing, and she was an employee of Starbucks. And she said, we're actually not allowed to wear anything, even with brands or logos that aren't Starbucks approved. So it's not a pointed thing against Black Lives Matter. It's more of this is just company policy, and this, no one should be surprised. And it's I get that. And I get that probably all of us who don't work at Starbucks were more outraged than folks who did.
Right.
But I also wondered, at times like this, what is the role of companies, organizations, and institutions? So it's maybe that was your truth before.
Right.
I don't know. There's something interesting about deciding where we all stand right now.
Right.
Making that decision, regardless of what past policies we have, which are probably they're definitely inherently racist structures, as most policies are.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I just thought that was really interesting.
I think for me, as a company, you should always support your employees. So I will say that the Starbucks that's down the street from me has maybe 4 black employees. You at some point need to show the people who work for you that you support them. Like, this movement isn't just something about, overpriced jeans. It's about people's actual lives and livelihood that's in no way equated to that of white people as a whole in this country. So I feel like all of these people work for you. You should be supporting this movement because you support them. Or like you said, maybe you never did really support black people. You just trying to get the cheapest labor in. And so, But I don't know why I was surprised by Chick-fil-A. Maybe because they're so nice. But nice people can be racist.
That was the least surprising to me.
Yeah, it is, though. I was surprised because I don't want to stop eating their chicken. But, solidarity for the movement. And it's so funny because both of these times, the day before this came out, I ate at both of those establishments.
Oh, wow.
Yes, like the day that the Chick-fil-A thing came out, I had eaten there the day before. And then the day before the Starbucks thing came out, I hadn't had Starbucks in months. And then I went and got Starbucks. And then the next day I was like, man, I cannot catch a luxury break.
Yeah, what's funny too? So I have a Starbucks that's pretty much on the corner of the street here. And I don't go to it much, actually, at all. I'm still a Dunkin' Donuts woman from my time in New England, so I always choose that. But I do have the Starbucks gift card, and I have been thinking about it. I was like, I should just go, right over there and go. And then just as I had that thought, and this might be for me the revolution part really sticking in, just as I had that thought, I was scrolling Facebook, and there's this black-owned coffee company in Cleveland that was really struggling during this quarantine. Like, the report was on how the woman didn't think the business was going to be able to survive just because, it's been tough to get traffic where she is. She's in what is usually a pretty packed business and professional area. Mm-hmm. And because most people are working from home, she has almost zero natural traffic now. Dang. And 2 days later, so I saw that, after having my thought about Starbucks, and I was like, you know what, if I go anywhere, I'm going to go there.
Right.
2 days later, people rallied so much that she, I think, has something like tripled the annual expected rate just because people saw the news report. And I think black people rallied. I think other allies really rallied and really helped this place survive in a pretty remarkable way. And I really think about the power of our dollar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially when we're determined. And I saw people posting things and being like, I'm not really a coffee person, but I'm going to go anyway. Let's see if she has some snacks.
Right, right. And you know what? They do have snacks. They always have cookies or cake pops or just whatever.
Right. And that was so meaningful.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that keeps me encouraged.
Yeah. And that's the type of togetherness that's going to help us, that's going to make us win this. Like, I'm going to claim this is a win-lose situation for me as a black mom. Like, I need to see my children excel because they are good humans and because they work hard,
Right.
So, talking about the black dollar, I think I've spoken to several black women about this who talk about doing hair and where they buy their hair from and all this. And it's like, we need one of those places. We need one of every kind of place, right? In every community that we own, that our dollars come back to our community, period. The hair care industry is a $1.3 billion business. And I want to get this right because it's a super high percentage of it that is spent by black women. I posted it on something else. And we spend the majority of the dollars in the hair care business just because they're buying the expensive synthetic and real hair and all the hair care products that we do for our natural hair and, you know, still traditional perms and presses and just everything that we do to put into these businesses, right? I don't know.
That's interesting. That's interesting too. So I just saw that one of my friends, Jessie, she's a coder. Like she teaches code and runs programs that helps to get, you know, girls and you know, Black girls access to coding classes and to help them to thrive. And she's always posted some super amazing and woke and like Black owned stuff. She posted today this company that is striving to do synthetic hair differently. So synthetic hair that is like natural and doesn't cause skin rashes and like all this other stuff that happens when we put other people's hair on us.
Okay.
But they're sourcing better, and it's a, you know, Black owned, and I just thought, I was like, this is an actual renaissance. I was like, I think we're living through the next renaissance. Like, you know, you read about the Harlem Renaissance back in the day, and I imagine that the energy of today probably feels similar to that. And what's interesting about that is that during the Harlem Renaissance, there were also like really big debates on what it means or what it should look like to live as a Black person in America. And you had many different camps, and, you know, that caused further divisions. But maybe we can learn from history, for one. And, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
No, you're absolutely right about that. It's just like, even on a show I was listening to the other day, it's like, who are the leaders of this movement? And to further divide, and I don't think that was her intention, she was like, there is no specific leader, which there isn't. But she said there shouldn't be. And sometimes I feel like there should be one source that you can turn to for these things so everyone has the same information. So we don't get off track, because there are so many moving parts to this revolution, right? Like there are so many different systems that need to be changed from the top to the bottom, that we need leaders for each specific problem that we're encountering right now. And that may be something that's state by state, but then one national thing that, you know, says, hey, these are all the things we're working on at this moment. Join in on this or join in on that. I just think that if Malcolm X said it about us being out organized, that's what, yes, and that is the truest fact, because we have the spirit to be in movements and make change, but damn it, can we put it on paper?
Right, that part.
So, I don't know, girl. That's what it was. Black customers spend 9 times more in hair and beauty.
Wow.
Than anyone. 9 times more. And that was from 2018.
I ain't trying to get messy.
Right.
For real.
Okay, here we go.
I'm not. I really am not. But when I think of that, and I think of, I have 2 thoughts. I know growing up in church, I was taught that, you know, a woman's hair is her glory. And so I'll hold that in one place. Okay. The other thing I hold is the fact that we have so little to no generational wealth in the Black community. Yes. And what you were talking about earlier with spending habits is like, it's true. We put a lot out there. And I think some of that is like, we're living for today. We're not living for a future because, and maybe this is accredited to that post-traumatic slave syndrome, it seemed like the future is something we can count on. And that's a sad truth. Yeah. But when I think of how, because the hair industry is $1 trillion industry, isn't it?
Yeah. No, look, I was absolutely wrong when I said 1 billion. It's saying that the hair care business in 2019 made $90 billion. So maybe the 1 billion was in America.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
because
so it's
globally, it's like $92 million industry.
and if we spend 9 times more than anyone else, like, imagine what would happen if that was cycling back through our communities.
Right.
Or even if just in terms of, innovative entrepreneurship, that was cycling through our families and creating that generational, that lasting wealth.
Yes.
And then I'm like, what parts of society made it so that this is what we decided was the most important thing?
Right.
To wear hair that way. I think, I guess I'm in my 10th year of having natural hair. And I think a lot about beauty, and I think a lot about like what people say people should be doing in order to look presentable to the world.
Right.
And I think of how the danger even of natural hair, it's like there's a certain type of natural hair that people like.
Yes.
It's not what's actually authentically naturally ours. So like
they like what is like good hair, like the definition of what they used to say is good hair is something that's kind of wavy and has less texture to it. Now we're leaning towards more of the good hair is what's healthy hair. Like, manageable hair is good hair. Not the wavy, I got Indian in my family, my cousin's daddy was, Irish or something. It's no. But
right,
yeah.
But when I think about self-love, and I think all that is tied into this revolution, the uprisings. I think it's tied into our generational wealth and health. I think it's tied into all those decisions. Like, we struggle with what is actually natural to us.
Yes.
So if I were to wear my hair the way it looks right after I wash it, which I've done sometimes, but only a little. Like, I still stretch it out,
right?
Do something to it. But wouldn't it be beautiful to exist in a world where, well, actually, I know some people do exist in this world, but like as a whole.
Yes, but wouldn't it be beautiful too? You said it right the first time.
Yeah, wouldn't it be beautiful if we all loved ourselves so much and understood our worth so much?
Yes.
That we were comfortable with, like, literally who we are in our skin and with what comes out of that.
Wow.
And we're so far from that. And so it's hard to, like, I think one of my major values in life has always been authenticity. And I think about the ways in which society has made it very difficult for Black people in particular to live authentically and achieve society's version of success.
Because it's not professional to, and in short, they're saying it's not professional to be Black when they're saying it's not professional to wear an afro or a twist out or any of those things. So you can't be a professional person and also be Black.
Right.
And I was wrong. That was African American men and women spend $2.5 billion in the hair care industry. And that is not included, this statistic does not include hair accessories, wigs, or electric styling products.
Oh gosh, and we know wigs alone.
Yes. That is crazy. And that's like, it's not even that we as Black people are missing out on those dollars. The United States is, because this hair is imported from, India, China. The stores and companies are ran by people who are from Asia, all Asian countries really, because the people who own the one down the street are from India. And then the ones across the street from them are Asian.
Well,
and none of them are
Asian too.
Yeah. I was like, I said they're all from Asia. So there's like all the, I said they're all from Asia. One is the Chinese owned one and one is an Indian owned company. And I just moved the phone so far away from my mouth. I don't think I was holding the wrong phone up to my mouth. Not the recording phone. I was holding the one that you were on up to my mouth. I'm crazy and a mess. But yeah, it's like, that's what America is looking like for me at this moment. And I feel like Black people at this moment, a not belonging in somewhere that you've been your entire life. So,
yeah.
You got any add-ons, best friend?
Add-ons. And when I think about how it's set up to keep us that way, like people talk about how, oh, that was so long ago, racism. I saw something that someone wrote that said, none of us alive today were slaves or enslaved. They said slaves, but I would say enslaved.
Right.
And none of us were slave owners, so can't we just put this behind us?
Oh, wow.
Like, that just shows me you have no idea of the intergenerational trauma.
Yes.
That the structures and just the participation in it have caused on all sides. We not get to, that's too kind.
Yeah.
We are forced to live with the repercussions of having been enslaved, whereas I think they, and I'll go less than them for this one, are forced to live with the guilt of what they know was bad.
But also they live with the guilt, but they also reap the benefits of it.
Yes.
So, that part. Like, a lot of times, too, for me, it feels like when you check your family history as far as we can go, which is about as far as slavery without doing, actual DNA testing, they can go back to the beginning. So a lot of it turns into shame, right? Because then you see someone in your family listed like they are a pet, or you see someone in your family listed in the household, but not listed as the child of this white owner. So it's like a lot of shame, really, right? Because they trespassed against these women's bodies, and then you still don't own up to your then family because they are black. And it always goes, I just can't believe that people still say, why does it always come back to slavery? Because that all was because of blackness, because you really were so inferior to these people that you stole that you created this whole system that made you seem superior to them. So, but that is a talk for another podcast.
Yes, girl.
Thank you, Jenae Peters, for joining me also by accident because...
Yeah, I was going to say, I just want everyone to know that I didn't know at first.
She was not prepared. I don't think I even told her what the topic was. We just started talking on FaceTime, and I continued to record because I'm that great of a friend that I blindside people into being on my podcast.
Hey, I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, girl.
Bye.
Okay, so this is Aandrea with You Better Fact Check, because I had wine first, and I did have wine towards the end. I appreciate you listening, and thank you for hopefully understanding where we are coming from as a people. I know this went a lot of different places, and I'll probably have to touch on it in different podcasts, but just reflect within yourself on whether you want to be treated as your neighbor that is black, or would you want to live in the comfort of your whiteness and not elevate people to a status that we all are due, Thank you again for listening to You Better Fact Check, because I had wine first.